There was a time I thought breaking meant failure, that when life crushed me, it was the end. But what I didn't realize was that breaking was the beginning. Because sometimes you have to be shattered to see what you're truly made of. You have to hit the ground before you find the strength to rise. I broke myself, but I did it with intention. I tore apart every lie, every limitation, every fear, and piece by piece, I rebuilt a stronger, wiser, unstoppable version of me. You see, real transformation doesn't come from comfort. It comes when you look in the mirror and finally say, enough. Enough of living small. Enough of running from pain. Enough of letting the past define you. This, right here, is your moment to rise. Pain is not your enemy. It's your awakening. Most people spend their lives running from pain, pretending it doesn't exist, numbing it with distractions or burying it under fake smiles. But pain has a purpose. It's your body, your soul screaming, it's time to grow. Every painful experience you've ever faced, betrayal, heartbreak, failure, carries a hidden gift. The gift of awareness, the gift of power, the gift of transformation. You can't evolve without friction. You can't awaken your strength without first confronting your struggle. Growth doesn't happen when things are easy. It happens when you're tested, stretched, broken, open. The people who rise are not the ones who avoid pain. They're the ones who use it. They harness it. They turn suffering into fuel. When you shift your mindset from why is this happening to me to how is this happening for me, you unlock the secret to lasting growth. Pain becomes a mentor, not a monster. You stop seeing yourself as a victim and start acting like a warrior. You realize the fire that once tried to burn you is the same fire that forges you. The strength you seek will never be found in comfort. It's born in the moments you think you can't go on, and you go on anyway. Pain strips away the lies. It reveals your truth. It tears down your ego and exposes your essence. Every scar is proof that you didn't surrender. You adapted, you learned, you rose. So when you're hurt, don't hide from it. Don't suppress it. Sit with it. Ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Because once you extract the lesson, you reclaim your power. Remember, you were never meant to escape pain. You were meant to evolve through it. And when it's time to rebuild, the first thing you must break is not your body. It's your pattern. Because patterns shape destiny. Most people aren't destroyed by life. They're destroyed by repetition. They keep reliving the same mistakes, responding with the same emotions, believing the same limiting stories. You can't rebuild your life while clinging to the same mental blueprint that built your pain. Every thought you think, every habit you practice, every belief you repeat, it's programming your reality. You must break the loops that no longer serve you. The pattern of procrastination, the cycle of self-doubt, the routine of comfort that keeps you trapped in mediocrity. Change doesn't start with external success. It starts with internal disruption. You have to interrupt your own limitations. You have to challenge the identity that says, I can't, and replace it with one that says, watch me. Most people want to change their life, but don't want to change their patterns. That's why they stay stuck. You can't build a new world with the bricks of the old one. To rebuild yourself, you must first destroy the structure that's keeping you small. Every time you act differently, every time you choose courage over fear, discipline over comfort, faith over doubt, you're rewiring your mind for greatness. The old you resists this because the old you thrives on familiarity. But transformation is never familiar, it's disruptive. You have to be willing to dismantle your old identity piece by piece. Destroy the thought patterns that whisper, you're not enough. Shatter the emotional habits that make you settle. Break the routines that keep you average. Because only in the breaking can you make room for rebirth. You're not losing yourself, you're upgrading yourself. Every time you break a pattern, you reclaim a piece of your freedom. Every time you interrupt fear, you amplify faith. Every time you choose differently, you evolve. So stop recycling the same life expecting a different result. Destroy what's holding you back and rebuild what will set you free. Every transformation begins the moment you stop negotiating with your old self. That voice in your head that whispers, take it easy. Maybe tomorrow, you've done enough. That's the very voice keeping you stuck where you are. The truth is, you'll never build a new life with the same mindset that built your pain. You have to draw a line in the sand and say, enough. I'm done being controlled by fear, by comfort, by excuses, because every excuse you buy, you pay for with your potential. Every time you play small, you train your brain to settle, and settling is the silent killer of greatness. Discipline isn't about punishment, it's about freedom. It's about taking command of your emotions, your habits, your focus, and refusing to be a prisoner of your past identity. If you want to change your life, you can't wait for motivation. You must build momentum. Action creates emotion. The moment you move, your state shifts. And when your state shifts, your destiny shifts. Most people think success comes from feeling ready, but readiness is a lie. Winners act before they feel ready. They don't wait for confidence. They create it through action. Confidence is born in motion. When you take that first uncomfortable step, you prove to yourself that fear doesn't control you. Every small victory rewires your brain to believe, I am capable, I am powerful, I am unstoppable. It's not what you say you'll do that changes your life. It's what you repeatedly do when no one is watching. That's where power is forged. That's where the real transformation begins. Stop trying to escape discomfort. Use it. Because discomfort is the birthplace of discipline. Every moment you resist the easy path, you're building the mental muscle required for greatness. Remember, success is not built on desire, it's built on decision. And that decision must come from a place of truth, not illusion. Because the biggest lie we tell ourselves is that we'll start later. Later never comes. Later is the excuse your fear disguises as logic. If you want to build a new life, it starts now. In this breath, this heartbeat, this decision. Change isn't something you wait for, it's something you create. And creation requires destruction. You have to destroy the comfort zone that's been your cage. You have to destroy the illusion that safety equals happiness. Growth only happens in the unknown. Every time you step beyond the edge of what feels familiar, you awaken parts of yourself that were sleeping. Fear is not a stop sign, it's a signal that you're on the edge of expansion. Lean into it. Use it. Fear is energy directed toward action. You see, most people misunderstand fear. They think it means something is wrong, but fear often shows up right before a breakthrough. It's a test. It asks, are you serious? Do you really want this? And your answer is not in your words. It's in your actions. You conquer fear by moving through it, not waiting for it to vanish. The longer you avoid it, the stronger it grows. But the moment you face it, the moment you act despite trembling hands, shaking voice, pounding heart, it loses its grip on you. That's how warriors are made. They don't wait for courage, they choose it. And every time they do, they rise higher. You must train your mind to see fear as fuel, not failure. Every obstacle is an opportunity to become more. Every challenge is a chance to rewrite your limits. You're not meant to tiptoe through life avoiding pain. You're meant to stand tall and meet it with power. When you stop waiting for life to get easier and start getting stronger, everything changes. Growth demands discomfort. Courage demands risk. Power demands presence. You already have everything you need inside you. Now it's time to prove it. Every person on this planet is living with two versions of themselves. The one they are and the one they're meant to be. The battle between those two is constant. The version you are today clings to comfort, familiarity, and safety. But the version you're meant to become, that one lives on the other side of fear, on the other side of effort, on the other side of the limits you keep defending. You'll never meet your higher self by staying comfortable. Growth doesn't come from doing what's easy. It comes from doing what stretches you, challenges you, breaks you open, and forces you to rise stronger. Every time you face resistance, it's life asking, how bad do you want it? The struggle isn't there to punish you. It's there to prepare you. You don't get stronger without resistance. You don't develop faith without uncertainty. You don't become unshakable without being shaken. You want to win big. You've got to grow big. You've got to decide that pain is your teacher, not your enemy. Most people run from pain, but the few who embrace it, they transform it into power. Pain is feedback. It tells you where you're still holding on to weakness, where you still need to evolve. The key is not to avoid it, but to ask, what is this teaching me? Every scar, every wound, every setback, they're all chapters in your story of becoming. Stop wishing for an easy road. Easy never changed anyone. The pain you're resisting today is the very pressure that will mold you into the person capable of carrying your destiny. And this transformation doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. You must decide every single day who you're becoming, because you're either designing your identity or the world is doing it for you. Your identity is the thermostat of you don't rise by chance. You rise by choice. Every day you're either feeding your future or fueling your fears. Every action, every word, every thought is casting a vote for who you're becoming. You want to rebuild yourself? Then stop waiting for motivation and start building discipline. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fire that never goes out. Winners don't rely on feeling ready. They act because they're committed. They understand that progress is built in silence, not applause. You don't need the world to believe in you. You need to believe in your capacity to become more. Every single breakthrough you're searching for is buried beneath the habits you practice daily. You don't become confident by wishing. You become confident by doing the things that scare you until they no longer control you. You want transformation. Then do the work even when it's hard. Do it especially when it's hard. The moments when you least feel like showing up are the ones that define who you really are. And here's the truth: your mind will always try to pull you back to safety, to convince you to stay small, to whisper that maybe you're not ready. But every time you choose courage over comfort, you rewire that voice. You show your brain who's in charge. That's how self-mastery is built, not in comfort, but in control. Control of your focus, your energy, your meaning. Life isn't about what happens to you. It's about the story you attach to it. You can look at challenges as proof that you're not enough, or as opportunities to grow beyond what you thought was possible. The story you choose becomes your reality. You can rewrite it right now. You can decide that every obstacle is a setup for expansion. Every delay is divine direction. Every no is a redirection to something better. You are not broken. You're being rebuilt for something greater. Every storm that shakes you is strengthening your foundation. Every challenge is chiseling you into your highest self. You can't rebuild your life while clinging to the pieces of who you used to be. Growth demands release. You've got to let go of the version of yourself that's addicted to comfort, the one that avoids pain, the one that's waiting for perfect timing. The truth is, there's no perfect time.
Only now.
The past doesn't define you unless you keep revisiting it. Stop replaying the story of what broke you and start rewriting the story of what built you. Every scar is a reminder, not of your weakness, but of your strength to endure. When you shift from asking, why did this happen to me, to how is this happening for me, everything changes. Pain becomes power. Setbacks become setups. You begin to see that every challenge carried the lesson you needed to grow into the person capable of creating the life you desire. You can't climb if you're holding on to the weight of what's gone. Forgive, release, rise. That's not weakness, that's power. Power to take back control, power to own your narrative. And here's what most people miss. Rebuilding yourself isn't about returning to who you were before you broke. It's about becoming someone stronger, wiser, more intentional. The old you wasn't meant to survive the storm. The storm came to awaken the real you. Every time you refused to quit, you trained resilience. Every time you showed up when it hurt, you created unshakable confidence. You didn't go through hell just to come back the same. You went through it to emerge with fire in your soul and purpose in your step. You are the architect of your becoming. Stop waiting for permission. Stop apologizing for your power. You're not here to blend in. You're here to break patterns, to build something extraordinary, to live in alignment with your truth. So take the lesson, burn the excuses, and step forward. You owe it to the version of yourself that refused to give up, the one who believed that even when everything fell apart, something inside you still knew you were meant to rise. You are not defined by the wounds you carry. You are defined by the strength it took to heal them. Every time you rise after being broken, you expand what's possible for your life. You stop operating from fear and start leading with faith. You stop asking life to be easier and start demanding that you become stronger. Because here's the truth. Life isn't about avoiding the storm. It's about learning how to dance in the rain, how to stand tall when the wind tries to knock you down, how to use the thunder as your rhythm. Every failure, every betrayal, Every heartbreak was molding your character, chiseling away everything that wasn't essential so the masterpiece could emerge. The version of you standing here today is proof that pain can be turned into purpose. You didn't just survive, you evolved. You became the kind of person who can walk through fire and come out brighter. And now it's your responsibility to use that power to turn your healing into hope for others. Because transformation is meaningless if it ends with you. The strength you've built, the lessons you've learned, they're not just for you. They're meant to ignite others, to show them what's possible when they refuse to quit. So speak your truth, share your scars, stand tall in your story. The world doesn't need another perfect person. It needs someone real, someone who's been through the storm and still chooses to love, still chooses to serve, still chooses to rise. That's leadership. That's impact. That's legacy. You were never broken to stay broken. You were broken to break through. And now, as you step into this next chapter, remember this, your journey is far from over. Every sunrise is a new invitation to create, to grow, to lead, to love. Don't settle for existing when you were built to live fully, fiercely, and without apology.